All right, welcome back to another podcast. Today's episode 6, I believe. We're joined here by all four of us, unlike last episode, where although we did pretty well for ourselves, Ponchi, if I do say so myself. You and I were the dynamic duo. We had our star guest, Jordan, on there with us, so that was a good time. But we're back with another episode here today. We have a pretty good list ahead of ourselves today in terms of topics, but let's just share a quick update from you guys. Nick, Bertaman, Ponchi, whatever order you guys want. What do you got going on right now?
Going on in life right now. Just school started
general.
up. Yeah, school started up for me, so I've just been busy with that. And birthday tomorrow, so that's amazing.
There you go.
And again, there's nothing to do, so that's also amazing. Thank you.
Yeah,
But
Canada,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's about it for me, man. How
Fair
about you,
enough.
Nick?
Nothing much, man. Just really busy on here. Things have been getting crazy in the stream, and the support has been unreal. It's just been real. Like, I'm just on Twitch all day, every day. Lazy sees it a lot. He sees me buzzing
yeah.
around. And Lazy's
yeah.
been active too. I see you. So it's
You're
been
playing
a lot
Fall
of
Guys
fun.
earlier.
Yeah. It's rough. I actually just finished playing with Papa, and he beat me. So we had a little challenge. We were doing who could win a game first in solos, and it was for 5 gifted. He actually beat me, so I just gave him 5 gifted subs on his channel. and then I got the hell out of there. Now I'm here.
There you go.
All right. What about you, Ponchi? What do you got going on your not your podcast? Well, our podcast, I guess. But what do you got going on your channel? What's going on with you?
Yeah. So I'm like keeping an eye on the average viewer analytics, and we're so close, 2.9. Sometimes it says 3. But aside from that, I'm back in uni in about a month, and yeah, I'm just working here and there.
Awesome. Well, as always, welcome Kevin, Bayou Bengal, and Detroit Lions to the chat here live on our podcast. So as always, while we are live, we do monitor our chat to see if we get any special questions. or specific questions that you want us to answer throughout the podcast. So if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even YouTube, feel free to leave or follow me on Twitch at SomeLazyGuy09 to tune in live for our podcasts on Wednesdays and Sundays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can ask us any questions that you might have, or you can just simply leave a comment in the YouTube section. I'll definitely get to it on the next podcast. So to start us off today, I want to start off with the Evander Kane news. So it is heavily rumored that Evander Kane is supposed to be going to the Edmonton Oilers. I personally think that that'd be very beneficial for the Edmonton Oilers. But I'll let you guys start us off. What do you guys think of that?
Oh, Ponch, you're the Sharks guy. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. What the heck just
I'm just happy we have Cap now. So that's fantastic. It makes sense. Connor McDavid's great. Leon Draisaitl's great. And then you kind of get this that. Aside from McDavid and Draisaitl, you get little bits of offense here and there. And yeah, no, Kane makes sense for a 1-year contract. Go for it, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like a lot more teams should have been interested. I think there were actually quite a few amount of teams interested because it's, I don't know what he'll sign at, but I know it shouldn't be that much, for one, just because given it's a risk, and he obviously has amazing offensive potential. So, playing on Edmonton, they do need scoring, and they've lost so many games in a row, and just in their last month, I saw a stat that they won. I would say I think 3 games since the beginning of or the end of November or something like that, or around that. And yeah, anything that can help them out would be great for them. And Kane can definitely do that. Him being on that power play would be great. Even just secondary scoring behind McDavid and Draisaitl. Because right now, when they're not playing on their historic pace of 200-something points, you see what's happening. And it's tough for them, but it's a good pickup, I think, for sure. Nick?
Yeah, I agree with all you guys so far. And especially when you look at the Edmonton Oilers' depth forwards, at least especially on the wing too, they don't really have much. So they have Puljujarvi, they have Hyman. Those are 2 decent wingers. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily qualify either of them as first line rate wingers. I'd say maybe they're good second liners. Puljujarvi's a good second liner. maybe even really good third liner. Hyman's definitely a good second liner in my opinion, but they're both would be considered pretty low end first line wingers, right? So obviously they get carried a little bit by McDavid and Draisaitl, and that's what kind of carries the Edmonton Oilers. So I think adding someone like Evander Kane, who has the ability to be at least a medium rate to high end winger on the first line. You know, he's capable of putting up a point per game when he's on a good line and on a good team, and when he's rolling properly, like he can score goals like it's easy, man. This guy knows how to put the puck in the back of the net. So if you sign him to like a 1 year, $1 million deal, or even less, or even slightly more than that, like 1 million, 1.5, or whatever they want to sign him to, I think that's a win-win for both sides. Evander Kane gets an opportunity to make up for his past transgressions and gets a second chance, or I guess like a fifth chance if you think about it, after Winnipeg went to Buffalo, after Buffalo went to San Jose, and now he's going to probably go to Edmonton. It's not official yet, but you know, I think this is a great opportunity for him. You play with McDavid and Draisaitl, especially someone of his talents. I mean, it's a guaranteed success unless he just really I hate to say shits the bed, but shits the bed, right? So anyway, Nick, I'll let you get your voice in there as well.
I wouldn't bring him in at this point. I don't think he's going to solve any. I mean, I understand. So maybe if a couple of years ago, that's a guy you want to bring in. But right now, just given his circumstances and how, you know, I mean, he's just been toxic throughout the entire league. It's just not, I don't see how it's going to help them. I mean, offensively, yeah, does he have talent? He's a very talented player. There's no doubting that. But with the way things have been for him, I mean, what are the odds that he goes to Edmonton right now and he's actually changed? You know, he's in a bad spot, you know, obviously with his personal life, you know, can't, you know, harp on the guy for that, but it's true. It's the truth. You know, that those problems don't just go away. You know, they tend to follow you, the ones that he's had. So, I wouldn't touch him right now in Edmonton. I really like talent wise, yes, but with everything else that he brings, I don't think it's worth it for them.
From that perspective, I agree. Yes, because for one, I was a talking point in Vancouver if they should bring in Evander Kane. He's from Vancouver and all that, but so much was going right for us in terms of like since Bruce came in and everything was going right, and people were saying it was a talking point about like, oh, do you want to bring somebody in to mix it up and mess up what they have? Is that a great idea? And a lot of people said no, and I agree with that. That's what the point that you're talking about. But I think from Edmonton's perspective, this could be really stupid, but also like it's already so bad. Like jerseys were thrown on the ice. They're talking about firing the coach. They're talking about firing like just everybody, right? And they're like, what can we even do? I mean, throwing another negative in could make a positive, you know, but who knows? You are right. There is a big track record here with Kane and his past life and history, and those problems do tend to follow you around. But I mean, all you can do is really try and give him a chance. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to backfire tremendously since they are already doing pretty poorly at this moment, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. And just to build on that too, like if you're Edmonton, this is, in my opinion, this is a low risk, high reward scenario. You know, you go into this situation, let's say you bring in Evander Kane, he's extremely toxic and doesn't help at all. Well, then just send him down or buy him out. You know, it's not really the end of the world because it's such a low cost contract, so it doesn't really affect them too much. Or you can just trade it to another team for like a seventh or something. Yeah. So it's a very low risk for me, and especially if you're Edmonton, you're not signing Evander Kane to re-sign him. You're just signing him as a quick stopgap to help fix your team right now. So let's say you're Edmonton, you and you're Ken Holland, you're talking to Evander Kane, and you're like, okay, look, what does it take for you to just kind of just come here, play hockey for the next like 3/4 or not even 3/4, like 2/3 of a year left? They just come here, play hockey, don't cause any trouble for just 2/3 of a season. Just come here and play hockey, focus on hockey for low money, and then this offseason, after you've proven here at Edmonton that you can still play, go make your money somewhere else. We don't care what you do with it. But while you're here, just come, play hockey, and prove to the rest of the league that you're still capable of being the NHL. So I think that would be a win-win scenario if that's the conversation that happens between Ken Holland and Evander Kane, and it's a conversation that goes somewhere positive. If Evander Kane's like, no, I just, you know, he doesn't want to play, just focus on hockey, and he wants to stir things and cause trouble, then yeah, don't sign him. But if he agrees, like, yeah, I'm gonna try to lay low and focus on hockey, then it's a win-win scenario for both sides, in my opinion. I think that's just a win-win. Yeah. How do you not do that? Ken Holland's been so uncreative. Like he's lacked so much imagination and creativity in terms of his roster moves as the Edmonton Oilers GM. I think this would be his most creative move yet. Like he hasn't really done much in Edmonton. So I think this would be a pretty significant change.
Yeah. The only problem I see with Edmonton is they don't really have a strong locker room. Like
yeah.
Connor and Dries are really good, but they're on, I don't know how they're doing with their leadership. Well, the Sharks, when they took the flyer on Kane, you had Thornton, Marleau. Oh, I don't think we had Marleau. Thornton, Pavelski. You had Vlasic, Burns. That's a strong leadership group right there. So, if anything, like I know Edmonton's mostly in the talks, but I wouldn't be surprised if he'd rather go to Boston with because they've got their perfection line, and they've got.
Sorry,
what's up?
I think it's actually pretty much done. It was like kind of like Friday is the day that he's going to sign. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it should come in the next couple of days.
Yeah. So that was just the. I know like Edmonton's in a wreck right now, but I thought he'd like to lean more towards like Boston because Boston's not quite proven, but they're consistently making the second round.
You're right.
But yeah.
Yeah,
that would
Boston. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be a good fit for him too. I would say, like, even if you throw him with like Hall, right? Like you have the perfection line, then you have Hall, and then I don't know who their second line center is, but Hall and Kane on a line as well.
Yeah.
That'd be nice as well. I mean, I don't. The reports I saw was that he's gonna go to Edmonton, which I think is good. It's just good for him and a good situation, but. If he did go to Boston too, that would also be equally as good. I think, and you're right. Like they do consistently make the playoffs, and they're probably going to make it this year too. So there's that. Whereas Edmonton, it's a little bit more up in the air at the moment.
Yeah.
Speaking of Boston, this brings up a good point from. Oh, sorry, Nick, but just quickly from Bayou Bengal. Shout out to Bayou Bengal, by the way, on Twitch. He asked a really good question to us. A good debatable question. Are the Boston Bruins the best team in the NHL? I'll let Nick start us off. Nick, 'cause I know you're going to talk there, so I'll let you say your point and then start us off with the question.
I was just going to say, I feel like we're kind of idealizing Kane a little bit, and that like he's still a good player, but I don't think he's as good as he was. So it's kind of turning into like one of those like, okay, how much longer are we going to keep idealizing this guy? Like, I mean, Taylor Hall is one of those guys too. You know, because it's funny that he's on Boston right now, and we brought him up. Is that he is one of those guys? It's like, okay, Hall had a good year in Jersey, but other than that, you know. He's a decent player. He's not, you know.
Well, like I think he'll still put up like over 20 goals though, like Kane. So
with his head on, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably. But you know, is it worth the 20 goals?
So just to, last season, the last season he played was 2019-2020. So the lockout, not lockout, but the shortened season there. So in his 56 games. He had 22 goals, 27 assists for 49 points, and a -1. So he was basically even on a pretty bad Sharks team at the time, who were playing pretty poorly. He had a regular shooting. He had a regular shooting percentage.
Very good.
So he played very well for them in his last season that he actually played. So, I mean, he's coming off a pretty good year. I don't see why he wouldn't keep that up wherever he goes right now. He seems to be.
A whole lot has happened since that.
Oh yeah, but he's been training though still throughout his off time. So
how old is he now?
Oh god,
29.
29?
30.
He just hit 30, so he's still basically in his prime, or like just slightly over it.
Do you have his CUDA stats, Mike?
His which now?
The Barracuda stats, because he played on the Barracuda.
I got it. He has 8 points in 5 games.
Not bad.
He's chilling, man. He's chilling.
Yeah.
So he's okay.
Yeah, he's just okay.
He's a half decent guy.
But anyway, let's move on to the Boston Bruins, because Bayou Bengal did ask us a pretty good question, and it's a very subjective question that's very much up for debate. But that's the fun part about hockey podcasts, is you can just debate stuff like that. So I'll start off quickly. I think the Boston Bruins are one of the better teams in the NHL. I wouldn't say they're the best. I still think the Tampa Bay Lightning are the best built team in the NHL. They beat you in every way. No matter what you play against Tampa Bay Lightning, they can beat you. You want to play physical, they'll beat you physically. You want to play skilled, they'll beat you skillfully. They'll beat you in any way you want to play hockey, and I think that's why they're the best team. They have Ryan McDonough, Victor Hedman, and Mikhail Sergachev, who could all be first pairing defensemen on many teams in the NHL. Like many teams in the NHL, they'd be considered a top line, if not number 3 or number 2 guy on a lot of other teams, and they're the top 3 in Tampa, and they still have Cernak as well. Cal Foot's coming up, so they got a really good blue line, very big blue line. So I really like that in teams when they have a skilled, sized defensive lineup. I think that's a really good team. So Boston, I'm sorry, I want to say that you're good, and I think they're one of the better teams. They're one of the better cultural teams in the league. They have this culture where no matter who comes in the lineup, they're still confident they're going to win games. I talked about that a lot about Pittsburgh in the last podcast, or a few podcasts ago. I was talking about how Pittsburgh has this culture where players like Evan Rodriguez can just come in and be amazing. Brian Russ, they just constantly recycle players like that because they come into the organization and expect to be good. So I think Boston has that very similar effect on players. Look at Matt Grzelcyk and players like that who just come up and play well for Boston. And Mike Riley comes in as a guy who was fringe going on other teams, and now he looks really good in Boston as a top 4 defenseman ish, like a 4-5 guy. So I really like Boston's culture. I think they have one of the best cultures in the league, and I think that they're built to win always, as long as they have that core right now. But they're not one of the better teams to me anymore. They're up there, but they're not the best anymore. They're just not.
I can agree with that. I mean, I think they are a good team for sure, but in terms of tiers, I wouldn't put them on the very top tier. And the ways you listed as well. But that being said, though, I know we're gonna talk about it later on, but Rask is coming back, so I don't know how much that's gonna change things, because right now they've won I want to say a third, or sorry, 2/3 of their games, I would say, which is pretty good. It is pretty good in the NHL. They won 2/3 of their games, but yeah, now adding Rask as well, and I know they've been kind of injured, and COVID's been around them throughout the season, so it'll be interesting to see when they're all fully back. I think they're all fully back now, but when Rask is here, it'll be interesting to see how good they are then. I still think if they make the playoffs, it'll be through wild card. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at their lineup right now. I know they wanted to get rid of Jake DeBrusk, so that could be a deadline person they kind of get rid of. Eric Holla at your second line center. I don't know, but these are just kind of things where I'm just looking at this isn't the top tier. Other teams second lines, and their depth is just much better. Their defense is all right, but if I look at the top tier teams as well, I would say they're still better than having John Moore, Carlo's okay, Mike Riley. Yeah, I would kind of agree with you there. I would agree with you. They're not the very top tier, but they're a good team.
I can see Nick writhing right now in the background. He's ready to debate
go on about it.
Let's see, Nick. Let's see what you gotta say.
I'm a huge Bruins fan. For those of you that that can't tell, I love the Bruins.
Pulling the Rangers thing.
I just told the Rangers.
Love my Bruins. All kidding aside, though, I mean, they're a good team. I think they're right where they're supposed to be. I think we all thought they were going to kind of fall off a little bit, and they did. But it's funny. It's it's usually these type of seasons that a team might win a cup. When everyone starts to kind of say, they're getting past it a little bit. Maybe they're not what they were. That's usually when a team is dangerous. And I think Boston is right in that area right now where they're dangerous. But they also don't have depth, like Berta was saying. It's a one-line. I mean, they're okay. They do have some options besides that first line. But I don't know. You shut down that top line, it's going to be a tough night for Boston.
Right.
And how is Rask going to be the Rask that he was? That's another. It's just like Kane. Where's Rask at right now? I mean, Kane obviously looks good in the AHL, but Rask hasn't been playing, so we'll see with that. But they're a good team. Definitely not a top tier anymore, though.
Yeah, and hockey in our chat here, hockey brings up a pretty good point, or a very good point. The problem with Boston is the future. Like they keep selling off their prospects, and that's the part about being a contender that's tough. Is you always want to keep being the best when you're contending for playoffs. So you're always selling off your future. Now the best teams, in my opinion, the teams that are able to compete for a long, long, long time, which is what I always try to build in my franchise modes on Twitch. Shout out to myself. Is I build a team that's able to constantly get younger and better at the same time. So the best teams do that. Tampa Bay has done a pretty good job so far. You look at the likes of Matthew. I'm a huge Montreal Canadiens fan, but I keep going about Tampa Bay Lightning because I think they're just so well constructed. And I would have said that years ago, even as they're coming up. You got players like Matthew Joseph coming in, Taylor Radish, Boris Kachuk. Those are all young guys in their low 20s, like 21, 22-ish, maybe 23 tops. Cal Foote, players like that coming in constantly. Sergachev, they trade away an aging, well, not really aging at the time, but they trade away Drouin for a 19-year-old defenseman, and now it's Sergachev, right? So they keep a similar core, but they're constantly getting younger in their depth. They get the veterans sometimes for their fourth line, but they're always, those third and second lines, they're always getting younger and younger and younger. And as those young guys start asking for more money, boom, you're traded away. Like, look at Tyler Johnson. Look at guys like that. They trade them away when they're starting to ask for those big contracts, and they replace them with younger guys. You know what I mean? So I think teams like Tampa Bay that do that are able to succeed for so long and remain a champion/contender status for that reason. Now, I think Boston did that for quite a while, and we're pretty successful at it as well. As they were contending, they brought in the likes of Sagan, Kessel, Hamilton, and but then their problem was they recycled those players for older guys. So that's where Boston went wrong, in my opinion. Unlike Tampa Bay, who when they trade away their older guys, they get younger. So while still getting better. So I think that's what makes a true contender. Sorry, Ponchi, I kind of cut you off. So if you want to take over from me, you're up.
No, I was thinking, so the Kessel trade wasn't as bad as people think because they got Sagan. It was the Dallas trade that made it worse. That was the whole problem with that. Boston, we all know Boston. We've lived with Boston for a long time. We know that they're good, and then they'll pursue somebody. But you know, it happens to every team where they're up top, and then because they're trying to keep the gang together for a long time, they don't have anything. They don't have a future right now. So
well, look what happened to Detroit, right?
So I think they're borderline on that right now. And yeah, I think, but they also, like, Boston has a smart GM. He's watching teams like the Sharks that are kind of struggling right now because of that, because they're in that mid-tier situation. And, the Red Wings. So, I'm not a GM, so I'm going to respect that the Boston GM knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a pretty smart guy. He brings in guys like Haula, Lazar, that can just kind of come in and be good players. Craig Smith has looked so good in Boston. He found a way to keep Taylor Hall for decently cheap. So, yeah, he's definitely a smart guy. That's not what I'm saying at all. And since he has taken over, they've been much better at being that Tampa Bay-like-esque champion team that can constantly get younger and better at the same time. Since he's taken over, but before his tenure, I think it was, I don't know who it was, but he was the guy who traded Tyler Seguin for really old players. And speaking of the Dallas Stars and Tyler Seguin, I think it's time we move on. Bertaman, I'll let you start us off for this one. John Klingberg has asked for a trade out of Dallas. It's been reported. I mean, is it official? I'm sure it is because it's been reported everywhere, but if not, then it'd be a crazy rumor. Bertaman, start us off.
I did see the actual video of him responding to it. So it was reported that he requested for a trade. I think that is true, and he was asked about it in a post-game interview, I believe. But he did the basic thing, what everyone says, like, okay, this is my family lives here, I do want to be here, this and that. But it seemed like he felt a little underappreciated there, and I can agree with that. I can agree with that for sure. And I think for Dallas, like we were talking about last podcast, the last one that me and Nick were on, which was I think podcast number 4. And we were talking about the downfall of them as they're going to be trading some people at the deadline, maybe. And this could be the first domino to fall. But that being said, they've won a few games in a row now. So I think if they're close to a playoff spot, man, I don't see it happening, Ponch. I know you're the one to start all of this, but if they're close to it, I don't know if they're going to trade Pavelski and Radulov. They might just end up losing them, or if not, they don't re-sign them. I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
If you're in the Dallas Stars division, right? That's not a very strong division. Like, I'm sorry, the West is a lot, and I mean a lot, weaker than the East, in my opinion. The East has so many strong teams, so many well-built teams and franchises. The West, yeah, it's a fun time to watch the West because everybody's competing for a playoff spot. Like, everybody except for Arizona and Seattle, I think, in the West. And even Seattle, if they go on a tear. Like, let's say Seattle wins 5 games in a row. They'd be like really close to a playoff spot because everybody's around 500 battling for the same spots in the West. So if you're a team like Dallas, why not just trade all your old guys for younger guys and maybe still make the playoffs? You know, what's the wrong in that? You're in a division you can take. You're in a conference you can take advantage of. Teams like San Jose, Anaheim, LA, like those teams you can take advantage of because they're playing above expectation. So that's probably not going to last. It's probably not going to be sustainable for those teams. So if you're Dallas, and I'm looking at our team, and don't let this 3 or 4 game winning streak derail your opinion of the team. Don't let 4 games change your entire opinion of a team. We all know Dallas is too old at this point. Maybe this would be their last hurrah to try to make a cup win. But if I'm the Dallas Stars and if I'm looking out for myself as a franchise, I'd say, okay, it's time to rebuild. Let's build around Heiskanen and let's build around Hintz. Let's build around Robertson. Let's build around those 3 big pillars. Let's build around Ottinger. And let's complement them with some younger guys who are like 25, 26, or even 24. Let's complement them with those guys who can play key roles and make them better. So that's what I would try to do as a Dallas Stars GM, but obviously I'm not a GM, and it'd be tough to sell ownership on that. But if you can do a quick retool, just try kind of trade your old guys out for younger parts and still make the playoffs, that'd be so exciting for Dallas fans, I'm sure.
Right, and I think Klingberg would haul something too if it's a sign. Most of these deals now with higher level players in the NHL, when they're near the deadline and they're a UFA coming up, it's usually like a sign and trade type of thing, or like they'll have a deal in place when they do trade. And I think if they get that done, they would get a massive haul for Klingberg because he's a great defenseman and he does put up points. I think he's put up I think, let me see right now, I think 17 and 27, which is pretty good. Most defensemen are not at that level, so he can play on the power play. He's not very old. He's 29. He's still in his prime. So they get some haul for him, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the retool makes more sense than a full rebuild, because when we want to name those like pieces we should trade off, it's only 3 really. It's Radulov, Pavelski, and it's Klingberg. Ben's not getting traded off. He's the captain and he makes like 8 mil, something like that. And Sagan makes 7 mil and he's putting up points. So I think you want to go younger. So I think look to trade this season, tank 1, maybe 2 seasons, and then I think your retool is going to come quicker. It's going to come quicker with better results rather than a full like rebuild.
Yeah, so I pulled up the cap friendly. I'll let you guys discuss about these players. But I pulled up the cap friendly for the Dallas Stars, and these are their expiring deals. You got Pavelski, Radulov, Guryanov. I hope they keep him. But you got Pavelski, Radulov. You have Michael Raffle, Jason Robertson, John Klingberg, Andre Sekera, Braden Holtby, and Jake Ottinger. Those guys are all expiring on their contracts.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, and they buried Anton Hudobin, so that's money buried right now. So they're getting a penalty for that as well. So those are the guys expiring. But then you look at the contracts, like Jamie Benn's got After this year, he's got 3 years left at 9.5. There's no opportunity to change that. And Tyler Seguin's deal is 9.85 million per season until at the end of 2026, 2027. So in 2027, he will be a free agent. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons after this one that he'll be under contract for 9.85 million. So those two are definitely untradeable. But you look at the likes of Pavelski, like I said, Pavelski, Radulov, Michael Raffl, Luke Glendening, those guys. And then on defense, Klingberg, Ryan Suter, if you could find a suitor for him. Andre Sekera, like those are all movable contracts, and so is Braden Holtby. Like you just build young, you're set. That's all you got to do. But it's just getting there. That's the hard part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It looks just like the Rangers situation. And it's like, it's funny you're bringing up those names. Like when the Rangers did theirs, it was Zuccarello, McDonough. There's one other player, but those were two of the big ones. So I'd say, comparably, it's like Pavelski and Klingberg right now. But the only Dallas has to be careful with Klingberg because I know we didn't really get any good. I mean the return was okay for McDonough, but I feel like the Rangers definitely got fleeced a little bit. So Dallas has to be careful because Klingberg's obviously still a really good defenseman, and you don't want to lose him for nothing.
Yeah,
I don't remember who they got for Zuccarello.
You got
This is basically the exact same thing that they're going through right now. The only difference is that Sagan and Ben are there, and they're anchors basically because of those contracts. So it's a lot more complicated than just okay, we're losing Pavelski and Klingberg. I mean Ben and Sagan. That's crazy. Those are crazy contracts.
Yeah.
Did you guys get rid of JT Miller that year as well, or was that later?
Yes.
Was it that year?
I think it was that year.
And you got Derek Stepan traded for.
Stepan was out that year.
For Zibanejad? That's a steal. Oh my god.
No, we traded Brassard.
Oh,
Brassard for Zibanejad,
right.
Which was also
still a steal. I knew it was one of those two guys. I don't remember who it was.
That was good. That one was a little earlier though. That was a little before the retool.
But it was like,
but it works. Yeah. If you do it right, it works. It's just a lot of GMs,
don't hang on
to go and do it because
if
you mess up, your fan base is gonna hate you for years to come. Like, imagine they trade Klingberg right now and Klingberg goes somewhere else and he's not gonna win a Norris or anything, but imagine he becomes a really good defenseman and Dallas just ends up being down at the dumps for the next 5 to 10 years. Most teams don't actually pull off what the Rangers did. Most teams, when they do something like that, they end up regretting it immediately.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say as well. I think it's that as one point for sure, but I also think it's a money thing too. Like they don't want the seats to be empty. They want their team to always be in the playoffs because you make money that way, right? And if your team is not gonna make the playoffs, you're gonna sell less tickets, for example. I think a place like like MSG, I feel like that's always gonna be busy. You're gonna sell a lot of tickets there regardless, just because it is what it is. So I feel like they were able to pull it off just fine. Whereas I know so many other markets would not do it just for the sole purpose of just the money aspect of it, or the owner would not want the team to do that necessarily. I think that's another key thing to why that happened, or why it doesn't happen as much.
I'd agree with that. You got I mean that's kind of like Toronto did something similar too with their with their little rebuild and bringing in Shanahan, the whole thing they did there. Not you don't really see that. You're not going to see Arizona do something like that, So it's a tough spot for a lot of teams. Like when you're like Dallas and you're like right there, and the owner for teams like Dallas, like playoff revenue matters. So those couple games that they get in the playoffs, that actually matters. Like the Rangers, they're going to make money either way. Toronto's going to make money either way. They don't need to make the playoffs. Dallas kind of has to. So that's probably why I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas just tries to hold on to Klingberg and push. Even if they don't look good. They don't look like they're going to win anything, let alone make it. They're just going to hold on and hope that maybe they get lucky.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you. I gotta mention one thing though, man. I'm scared of Eichel. I'm scared he's practicing. It looks like he's gonna kill the Pacific Division quite a bit. We already have McDavid in our division, and now we got Eichel. Oh my goodness, it's not looking good. And Vegas is already first, man. I don't know how they always do this. They have this injured team, and then they just come out and they're just still first again and again, and now they have Eichel coming, and it's gonna be scary, dude. Once they're all healthy, like Pacioretty's scoring at an unreal rate. I don't even need to pull up his stats to know, like his goals per 60 is probably like up there amongst like the top goal scorers in the league. Like we were talking about making our fantasy teams earlier, and I went so top heavy of goal scoring. Honestly, I feel like Pacioretty, if you're looking at goals per 60, he's probably right up there with like a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I think the thing is though, will Vegas? I think Vegas is eventually going to have. They're going to go through what every other team is going through, trying to keep this gang together.
At least that's what you're rooting for, Ponch, secretly.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you knew he wasn't going to say anything nice about Vegas. Come on.
It's either I slandered Edmonton, I'm slandering Vegas. There are division there. I don't like Edmonton because I'm a Calgary boy. Don't like Vegas because I'm a Sharks fan. But will it happen though? Because you lost Suzuki, you lost Tuck's gone, and Krebs is gone. And I know Tuck and Krebs don't look like. And what did they also
Tuck is
trade
good,
a first?
Tuck
is good.
Yeah.
I know Tuck doesn't look like Eichel, but you also thought Suzuki wasn't going to be as good for your future, and he's doing well in Montreal right now.
I think I disagree with that.
Really? You don't like Suzuki for patches?
No, I think from Vegas's perspective, I think they knew Suzuki was going to be good. I think they didn't expect Tatar to be as good as he was, but they were also banking on Pacioretty being as good as he is right now for Vegas. Pacioretty has been so good for Vegas, so for them it's worth it. Like they don't need Suzuki. Like I look at Vegas, like he doesn't really play their style. Quite honestly, I don't see Suzuki being a good fit in Vegas. I don't know why. I just don't see it being a good fit. To me, he just doesn't seem like a Vegas Golden Knight. Maybe it's just because I'm a Habs fan. I've always seen him in a Habs jersey, but like to me, Suzuki just doesn't seem like a Vegas Golden Knight to me. He just doesn't. I think they knew he was good, but they felt like they needed more winger scoring ability. And Pacioretty, man, he's a dynamic scorer. Like he can just shoot the puck from anywhere and beat any goalie. Like he has such a good shot. Like I watched him play in Montreal. His biggest flaw was he doesn't go into the corners and dig for pucks. Well, guess what? Even with Mark Stone and Chandler Stevenson, those guys go into the corners and get the pucks and give it to Pacioretty. In Montreal, Pacioretty was the only good player on offense. No offense to Galchenyuk and Plekanec and Desharnais, but like, I mean, I guess offense to them because they're not good enough to make Pacioretty less noticeable by the other team. Whereas Vegas, especially when Eichel's in, you have Stevenson, Eichel, Stone, Carlson, Marchessault, and Pacioretty. So Pacioretty gets a little bit lost in the offensive zone. He gets open and he scores more. So I think Vegas was banking on that more than anything else. They didn't need someone like Suzuki. They needed someone like Pacioretty who could score goals like it's easy. Like it's so easy for him. Or not, it's not easy for him, but he makes it look easy is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's my opinion on the matter there for Vegas's trade. And we were talking before, and Hockey brought it up in the chat, so I do want to bring this up to let our chat know that we're always listening to them, because this is about being an interactive podcast. That's the whole point of this podcast, other than us just hanging out and having fun. But he did bring up a good point, like how is Vegas, what kind of witchcraft does Vegas have to pull off for Eichel to be able to play? And I said voodoo witchcraft. I don't know about you guys. I said voodoo. I think that's just the way they're going to go. But also, I think their move, and Vegas is very smart. They're very smart. They know what they're doing. They have a very smart GM. I'm looking at their books. They have Evgeny Dadonov. And Evgeny Dadonov was not a guy anybody really wanted on their team. Like, it was just so easy to, like he's just been moving around. Right? He's in Florida, then in Ottawa, and then he's just moving around so easily. I think they brought in Dadonov for now. They're kind of showcasing him a bit. He's been playing on the first line while Pacioretty's been injured, so he's been playing with Stone and Stevenson, I think it was Stone and Stevenson he was playing with, and he's been playing pretty well. So I think they're trying to showcase him and then move him. I think that's their game plan. So look at his contract. He's got 1 year left after this. It's a pretty easily movable contract. It is $5 million, but if he's playing well, then who cares, right?
Yeah.
Well, him and Riley Smith are both. Well, Riley Smith is expiring next year, so I mean, what's Eichel's deal? Is it like 10? It's 10 mil, right? So they're 10 mil over the cap technically. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what though? I think I don't think Patrick's gonna play the rest of the year. So if they have him on LTIR, I think they'll be fine because his deal is around 7-8 million, and then they only have to get rid of a couple million after that just to get Eichel in.
And they still have Martinez on a LTIR as well at 5.25 for the next 2 years.
Yeah, and then once you in the playoffs, doesn't even matter anymore. So I think that's all it's gonna be. Is they're just gonna ride it out till playoffs? Like Pat Reddy, I honestly think is not playing this year until like playoffs. And then Martinez, I don't know how bad his injury is, but
he might be done. I think he might be done.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know. He's probably gonna come back for playoffs if I had to guess, though. That's usually how it goes in the NHL. But I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights are in a good spot. Like you can try to trade. I mean, I'd try to trade William Carrier maybe. I know he's a good fit for their culture and like everyone likes him, but he's making $1.4 million for a fourth line guy. You can move that as well. It's a pretty easily movable contract. He's only 27. It's like you move Carrier, you move Dadonov. That's like $6.4 million, and because Eichel's coming in late, I think it's not a full 10 million. I don't know. It's something weird. It's the NHL is very weird with their cap. It's so strange. So I don't know. I could see them finding a way to get around this easily.
Yeah, they wouldn't have made the trade otherwise. I'm sure they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
in some way.
Yeah. So I think Vegas is pretty well set up going forward. So I'm not too concerned for them. I think they're going to find a way to finagle the cap, as they always do. So. They'll be fine.
Yeah, Lazy, I actually got to ask you something, man.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. So a little segue. Canucks are looking at a GM. Habs looking at a GM. One name, this is not the front runner, but one name we interviewed and is coming up a little bit is Scott Mellanby. I know he was your AGM there for a long time in Montreal.
Yeah. What was he in charge of again? Wasn't he the VP of communication, though? I don't think
Is that what he was? Was he not the AGM?
I
thought he was.
Well, he was considered an AGM. Here, let me...
Okay. Alright, let's see. Wait, any initial thoughts on him at all?
He's the only good player on the Florida alumni team in NHL 22.
What about Atlanta Thrashers? If Atlanta Thrashers were in the game, I'm sure
was Mellanby on the Thrashers?
I think so. Let me check right now.
You don't like Pavel? Did they not have Pavel Bure?
Yeah.
No, not in the game. I don't know
That's
why.
ridiculous.
They literally every year. It's just like the alumni teams are so broken.
Yeah, you played on the Thrashers 05 to 07.
Yeah, so okay, I have his career here in Montreal. So he came into the Canadiens organization in 2012 under Bergevin. So he's one of Bergevin's guys as the director of player personnel. So that's a pretty significant role. That's the role that Bergevin had in Chicago. So then he was promoted to assistant GM under Bergevin. So you can tell Bergevin really likes this guy in 2014. If you ask me, the whole Bergevin era was just mediocrity at best. They had 1 or 2 good years in there, and everything else was just kind of throwaway. So, and like they were honestly, I don't know how much of a part he had in the like pro scouting in terms of like who to acquire in trades. So if he's going to come into a role as like someone who's going to be good at acquiring players, then you're set. Like he's probably pretty good. But if you look at the Laval Rocket, like with him as AGM, they went from Hamilton Bulldogs, I think, to the Ice Dogs, like somewhere else, St. John's Ice Dogs or something, or Ice Caps, and then the Laval Rocket. Like he's moved around the AHL team like 6 times, so it hasn't been very consistent. So I don't know what to expect from him. I really don't have much of a read on the guy because, quite frankly, Bergevin gets all the heat for everything, and so I don't have much of a read on him. But he doesn't have a bunch of experience as a GM, so I wouldn't be too pumped if he got hired.
The chat was talking about how they didn't recognize Nick without his glasses, and he puts it right on.
Oh my god, dude! I didn't even notice that. I was so into the conversation.
So do you have a sunglasses stream?
Mine's broken, man. But one day
I have old grandma glasses that I bought on a trip to the DR. I got them for like 1.5 pesos on a beach in the DR when I was in high school. Yeah. So back when I was like, I think I was 16 at the time. So these are the white grandma glasses.
Let me see.
Literally.
I like them.
Oh, you know what? You can pull them off.
I wore them for the Philadelphia Flyers. #@ Philadelphia Flyers. franchise mode intro, and for the Flyers. I didn't wear it for the first episode though. I just wore it for the intro, and I went like, bam, changes are coming. But I'm not wearing those. It hurt my eyes.
Yeah, well now I feel left out now. So
no, I took them off. They hurt my eyes. But anyway, they're I call them the old grandma glasses because they're white. They have the extra. They're fake Ray-Bans. They're Ray Dot Band. And they got the extra dot on the side to make them like extra grandma.
They're called Ray Dot Band?
They're rip-off Ray-Bans. They're Ray Dot Band from the Dominican Republic that I bought on the beach for $1 or for 1.5 pesos, which was like way less than $1. So I'll take it.
Yeah. Ray Dot Band. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're like, let's try and make some let's make some Ray-Bans that look exactly like Ray-Bans and not call it that. Let's just sneak a little dot in there so I can pull it off as a knock or like an actual thing.
But there's so many brands that do that though.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I gotta disable the channel points whenever we go on a podcast. I feel bad. Papa Clutch redeemed Happy at one point, and Cheese Whiz redeemed Musical Oh My God for a sound alert. They're not active in the podcast. I should probably give a warning somewhere. Channel points and sound alerts are not active in the podcast because we don't get copyright striked everywhere we post a podcast. And that way, when someone's going on a tangent, we don't want to have, oh my God, play what I'm talking about the Habs. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's why we have it like that. That's why I have it set like that, so we don't get DMCA striked everywhere. So
just quickly before we go back to hockey, my brother was telling me that his friend went to India, right? And this is when like the there was some really hyped up shoe that was coming out. It was a Nike something.
Of course.
So he bought it in India for like a lot of money, like $500-$600, like a lot of money.
Why?
Right? And then he came home and he's sending pictures and everybody to like the group chat. The freaking Nikes is the wrong way. Like the logo is the wrong way.
No way.
Yeah.
So they're worth like $5. That
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious, dude. Yeah, no, like you gotta be careful what you buy. Like if you don't buy it at an official store, it could be a knockoff. You never know.
It could be. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I bought them on a beach in the DR, and then I bought another pair that I lost or broke. I bought them at like one of those markets. I brought home like paintings and stuff. Like everything was super cheap, obviously, and like we were supporting the local community by going there. So that's why I bought stuff like that. We lost Ponchy's camera. Uh-oh. Now I'm Ponchy.
Now you're Ponch.
Ponchy, you want to turn the camera back on?
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to be me for the day, but I mean, you can. You want to go to work for me tomorrow? I don't feel like going.
There he is.
No, we're okay.
All right, let's move on to I think one of our last topics here. I have the PowerPoint set up, so I'm going to cover all our faces here. So I'm sorry to all of you in chat that love looking at us, but I'm going to block us here. We're going to talk about our teams. So let's close the overlay. And let's get the PowerPoint. Oh, of course I get a notification. So let me go like presenter view or something. No, that's not good. Oh shit. How do I get out of here? Sorry to everybody on the podcast. There we go. So these are the teams we have set up. I guess I'll start because my team is the one being shown, and yeah. So guys, are you still here? Can you still hear me?
Yep.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I didn't kill the podcast. All right, so we each drafted a fantasy hockey team, or not really fantasy hockey because there's no chance we get all these players on our teams, but we just picked a bunch of players in the league that we all really like and put them together on a team. I'm still not convinced with my center. I picked him because I think he's a really good player and he just gets cursed by the tradition of his team. So my team is Ovechkin at the left wing, Austin Matthews on center, Patrick Kane on the right wing, Adam Pelech on the left D, Cale Makar on right D, and UC Saros in nets. I think UC Saros has been one of the best goalies, if not the best goalie this year, other than Vasilevsky. Hindsight, I probably should pick Vasilevsky, but I just like how Saros is playing, especially on a team that's not very stacked. Like, Nashville's good defensively, that's why they win a lot of games. But a big part of it's been UC Saros. Ovechkin's just been on a tear this year, so it was a no-brainer to pick him. I think we all picked Ovechkin, or most of us except for Ponchy. Center, I think most of us took Matthews, and I took Matthews as well. He's been really good this year, and I really like his game. He's really grown a lot as a player, plays a good two-way game. Paddy Kane on the right wing. Paddy Kane's one of the best playmakers in the league, hands down the best playmaker in the league. So good with it, like his hands and skating, everything so good. Matthews is physical, Ovechkin's physical. They complement him so well, and they can both shoot. So that line would be unstoppable. I picked Adam Pelech. I could have picked Hedman here, but I picked Pelech because he's such an underrated defensive defenseman in the NHL. I think he's so good. If they had an award for shutdown defenseman, it would be him or Slavin that won it every year. So I put Pelech with Makar to complement Makar. So Makar's my offense puck-moving guy. I wanted a guy kind of like how Carlson had Mark Mathot. I picked Adam Pelech. And then the Nets, obviously I already said UC Saros. Guys, tear apart my team. Let me know why I'm stupid. Let me know what you think of the team.
No, it just makes sense.
It's hard to tear apart your team, man. Honestly.
Adam Pelech, buddy. We don't take New York Islanders on this team.
All right.
Pretty good.
What are you doing?
Oh, he's injured,
Name a
right?
good
Oh, yeah,
shutdown
he's injured.
defender on the
Imagine he
Rangers.
injured.
Name one good shutdown
Get
defender on
him
the
out of
Rangers.
there. What a bum.
Bro, if Adam Pelech was on the Rangers, you'd be praising him like God. You guys are like Ryan Lindgren.
Wait, was he the one who made that play, or was it Pollock in the conference final against Tampa?
I don't know.
I think it was.
Save. Do you know what I'm talking about? The save.
Yeah, the one where he was like in the net
Yeah.
against
that who-
McDonough.
I think it was either it was against McDonough. It was either Pollock or Pelech. I don't remember.
It was
I
one
was
of the
gonna
Pelech.
be-
It was Pulak.
Pollock.
It was Pulak.
Okay.
I say
That was
gonna
Pulak
be
just so I
like
don't get
goal
confused.
either way though.
Bro, that was one of the craziest. Like, even though that was the Islanders, I was impressed. I was like, okay, you know what? that was cool.
Yeah,
That was very cool.
Yeah.
But no,
So
that's a good team. I like.
I had to pick
Saros is good.
Pelech for that
Yeah.
reason. Such a good
How's
defender.
Saros? Wait, what are Saros' numbers right now?
Oh, he's killing it, man. He's like, I think he might have one of the best save percentages. Let me check right now for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, he's
Perfect.
been so good for Nashville. I couldn't not take him. I watched him playing against Montreal. Funny, that was like one of his weaker games of the season, but I still thought he was really good. What's going on, Noah? But yeah, so anyway, let us hear, Birdie. What's he looking like?
Well, he has a 928 with 30 games played, so that's unbelievable. Like that's very, very good.
He's played
And,
all but like 6 games this year. What the heck? Guy's an animal.
Yeah, he's killing it. 2 shutouts. His goals against average is 227. But then again, I always think that's more of a team stat. But yeah, he's doing great. He's gonna be good for them for a while. Like he's just entering his prime. I think. I think goalies are the thing of goalies is they're good for like a long time. Like even like just look at Mike Smith's numbers. Like I know you were talking about it like this year fantasy wise he was doing good, but like I think it was last year he had crazy numbers as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is about goalies. They can just be so good for like a long time.
Bro, Mike Smith is getting a lot of hate in the comment section. Guys, leave Mike Smith alone. The guy is a legend. He has like 17,000 children. He's a beautiful human being. He gets injured because Edmonton overplays him and can't play defense. If Mike Smith was on any other team, you'd all be praising him and he'd have like a 900,000 save percentage, all right?
I would not be praising him unless he was on Vancouver.
All right.
Then maybe.
Mike Smith has more empty netters than like Stefan Digg.
Oh yeah.
Or no,
There you go.
no.
Mike Smith is a legend. Let's move on to Bertaman. I want to keep this going because we got to end soon. I got to get going soon. So let's move on to Bertaman. What do you got?
I'll go super quick. So we both had Matthews, Makar. But my first line is I went so top heavy of goal scoring guys. I went Ovechkin, Matthews, DeBrincat. They're all amazing goal scorers. I think they're all in the top 5 of goal scoring this year. It's funny because when you look at this, I know you're talking about playmaking. I was like, okay, maybe DeBrincat has the playmaking on this line.
Nope.
He has the least amount of assists on this line. He has 6. Wait, hold on. I think it's 6 assists.
Bro.
Yeah, he has 23 goals and 6 assists. Okay, so there's that. Matthews has 23 goals, 14 assists, and Ovechkin actually has more assists than goals. He has 28 assists, 24 goals. So I went top heavy with my forwards, and I got the best puck moving D-man in the league. And I did say the best, and I did not include Fox there, Nick. Okay, I have Quinn Hughes and Makar, both amazing. Makar can shoot from the point. Hughes has a whatever shot, but they can both pass very well. And I got the best goalie in the league. I know you like Shesterkin and Saros, but listen, Demko, he is going to lock it down. And this is why my team will win the cup every single year.
All right, so I have a bunch of reasons as to why I disagree with you.
Before we get to them, can we talk about how he just pronounced Shesterkin's name? It sounded like you said shish kebab.
I might have said Shishwal.
He probably did, honestly, low key. But no, Birdie, you're getting roasted from the chat here too, man. I think, they're saying you're a homer for picking all these Vancouver
then
players.
You guys want to see my list.
They're saying you took.
Wait, I got 3.
They're saying how dare you take the Brincat over Godet? They're saying how is
that's because he's his editor first of all, so like he's gonna back on it anyway. But Yeah, no, man. Listen, you guys, listen. I have made my hut team. Okay, my hut team is very successful, so I clearly know what I'm doing here. Okay, all right. So I don't see your guys' hut teams doing anything.
Are we really
so-
using hut as a basis right now?
I think
Are
we
we
are. I think
seriously?
we are. We might have to, man. We
Oh
might
my
have to.
god! And then
Actually, how Bob McKenzie gets his stats through hot teams.
Loki, yo, imagine he just sims franchise modes and see who becomes the best. He's like, all right, I predict this guy's gonna be a franchise player. Oh my god! And then they're also saying they're also saying how is Matthews the best defender on your team? So I think your team is very well built for regular season hockey, but come playoff time, man, I don't know. You're gonna be relying on Demko.
Yeah, I thought it through, man. Demko literally ended all of Vegas. Okay, they were playing nightmare. They were going on about his performance against them 2 series, 3 series later, and I'm just like, okay, I guess Demko's living rent free in their head.
All right,
So,
that's fair. Yeah, he is the brick wall back there. Let's move on. We'll let chat vote a winner later, but let's move on to Ponchi. All right, Ponchi, you got your team set up here. I got you opened up. Tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, I think Kyle Connor. It's not that I don't like Ovechkin. I think I was thinking more of like a fantasy lineup, and I don't think if I got Matthews, I wouldn't get Kyle Connor. And like I feel like Kyle Connor gets a little slept on here and there because he plays really well. He puts up points, and especially with how like Winnipeg's just struggling right now, like. He's one of those bright spots. Matthews is Matthews. Point has more rings than everybody else combined on my team, so I really like Point. Thought my D-core was a little. I could have switched it out for a couple players here and there. I like Fox. I could have maybe gone Carlson. Eric or John, take your pick. But yeah, McCarr makes sense, and Leonard's getting me points in fantasy, so I was thinking more of a fantasy rather than like Stanley Cup like first 5. But you know, I feel like that's a solid 5, solid 6.
Fair enough. And all right, well, you're not getting roasted too hard. You're getting Cheese Whiz telling you that Connor's getting some respect. Nice to see. And then the only guy who's roasting is Fala. So Fala's saying that Leonard's terrible. He's basically telling him he's a donkey's behind. So what do you have to say about Leonard? How are you going to back this up? Because I think Leonard is one of the slowest goalies I've ever seen play in the NHL. He's got the biggest pads and the biggest chest protector I've ever seen, but I like him as a personality.
Vasilevsky would beg to differ.
Oh my god, yeah, Vasilevsky's thing is crazy too. Did you see him next to Price? Oh my god. All right, but tell us why you have Leonard. Why Leonard? Why not Vasilevsky? Why not? I should have picked Carey Price. Goddamn. But why not? Why not anybody else?
Oh well, because I thought it was a fantasy draft going in. I didn't think this was like a Stanley Cup like lineup. Well, like, I don't think Leonard's not a bad pick. And especially because how many games has Vegas played in total?
I don't know, but quite a few. He's put a lot.
Let's say 30. Would 32 be in the right, like, wheelhouse?
Yeah, that's
Vegas?
Everyone's played around 30-something games.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, quick prediction. Who do you know? Who do you think is... who do you think is Vegas' backup? I know who it is, so I'm not going to guess, but guess who Vegas' backup is. One by one, guess.
I know who it is.
Yeah, I know it too.
I know who it is as well.
Really? Okay, everyone say it.
How is it?
Laurent Brisson or
It's
Laurent?
It's Lauren.
Oh, damn. I didn't think anyone of you would know. I was going to say, if no one knows who it is, then clearly Leonard's playing a lot, but you guys all knew. Never mind, Leonard's terrible then.
We're hockey nerds.
Ponchi, I was trying to back you up, but
We're doing
clearly Laurent Brossois plays a lot of games, and Leonard needs to get out of there.
Yeah, well, especially when you were the backup to Marc-Andre Fleury, like, you're...
Last year?
Like, yeah, well, like, he took over that starting role. So, like, you know, he's not going to post the same numbers because...
Well, he's not Fleury.
You had two... Yeah, well, you also had two, like, all-star goalies. If Fleury's playing... If he's hot, I don't see why you don't let him play 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. But now, because Leonard's your A1 goalie here, he's playing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row.
Is
And,
Leonard? Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think he actually is, but you're gonna let him run. You're gonna let him run because he's your top tier goalie here, and you're
Right.
All
right. Well,
Really?
yeah.
I would love to grill you some more and be like, well, would you really want Leonard as your number one goalie? But it's fine. Let's move on. And I know he probably isn't your number one goalie. You just picked him because you thought Vegas was going to be good, right?
I mean, well, Vegas is good.
Yeah,
That's the
so
thing.
that's
And
why you
Leonard-
picked him, right? You didn't pick him for him. You picked him for the team, right?
I picked him more because fantasy. He's getting me points.
Exactly. You picked him for
And
the team numbers because they're going to boost him up a lot, right?
Yep.
All right.
Guys,
Yeah.
Awesome.
did none of us pick McDavid or Draisaitl?
No, I'm proud of
Who?
us for that exact reason. Let's move on to NXGnick here. We picked teams that are going to win the cup, man. We're not picking teams that are going to get a bunch of goals. All right, let's go.
We all have Matthews.
Yeah, but we love
I didn't
Matthews.
even know we were picking- I didn't even know we were picking teams that were going to win the cup, but I mean, I kind of like my team a lot more now. I think this team could win the cup. I mean, I wanted to go with a Russian theme. I was going to try to pick all Russian players. If you can't tell, I'm Russian. That first line, like, I know we got two righties there, but I feel like Panarin is so good at passing that you could pretty much, it doesn't really matter. And he can just play that. He could play. I mean, I'd probably put Ovechkin on the left side. Obviously, you want to take those one-timers, but Panarin's been unbelievable. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league right now. It's just that it's a pleasure getting to watch him all the time and seeing how good he is. Like, if you haven't seen Panarin, you have to see Panarin. It's amazing the stuff he does with the puck. Like, it's basically like Patrick Kane 2.0. It's insane what he can do. And obviously, he produces points. Ovechkin, I mean, what else can you say about the guy? Guy just scores goals. That's all he does all the time. And Malkin's the wild card pick. I'm a huge Malkin fan. I've loved him ever since he got in the league, and he came back for the first time last night. Got 3 points. Not surprised. Guy just gets points. That's all he does, and he never gets credit because he plays with Crosby. Nobody ever talks about him. Like, literally, this man, anytime he's in the lineup, he's a piece of glass. But anytime he's in the lineup, he gets points. So that's why I have him in there. And obviously the guys won cups. Ovechkin has a cup. And I think Panarin hopefully will get a cup with the Rangers. And that blue line, I mean, I feel like who else had Fox? Lazy, you had Fox, I think.
No, we all had McCarr.
Oh, you guys all had McCarr? Nobody else
Every
had Fox?
single person
I
had
had Fox.
McCarr.
I had Fox and McCarr.
Okay, Ponch had Fox.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I
I
mean,
forgot you put him on the
Fox-
left.
Fox is just like one of those guys. It's unreal, man, to see how he just kind of came out of nowhere. And like, if you watch, like, this guy is so good at breaking the puck out. He's such a smart player. There's a reason he has all those assists that he does. He's unbelievable at passing. It's just like, it's same type of package as Panarin. He's just on the blue line. Guy can pass the puck. Like, if he passes it, it will get to the target. Like 9 out of 10 times. So I would definitely want him on my blue line. And Hedman, I think Hedman's still the best defenseman in the league right now. Even if he may not win the Norris, I think he's still the best D-man in the league. He's the best two-way guy you're going to find. Gets points, plays the game the right way. And obviously he's got 2 cups now too, so I'd want him on my blue line. And there's a shish kebab back in the pipes. Got shish kebab back there. He's unreal, man. He also, but injuries too with him. Injuries too. He's injury prone, but when he's in there and he's on it, it's very hard to beat him. And I think I talked about him the last time I was on the podcast too. So you can't give enough credit to that guy, man. He's unreal. One of the best goalies in the game right now. So it doesn't have a cup, but I think he'll get one relatively soon. Hopefully.
How's your locker room looking though? If you've got Ovi and Malkin in the same room,
Oh, they're friends, aren't they?
They're yeah, they're okay
Yeah.
now. I mean, they did have beef at some point, but I think they're fine now. Most of the Russians, they like each other.
They end up
you know,
liking
they
each other
think
in
they
the
have
end.
little- Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, chat. I have made a poll, guys. We're not allowed to vote. Oh, Berta, you already voted for yourself, didn't you? All right, well, everyone vote for yourself then, because Berta voted for himself.
Well,
Did you vote for yourself twice? There's no way.
Yeah.
No, I voted once.
Okay, So vote for who you think had the best lineup. So don't pick the guy you think is, don't pick your favorite streamer, because we all know you'd pick me 100% of the time. So let's pick who you think had the best lineup. So just give you a quick recap. Nick's lineup is Ovechkin, Malkin, Panarin, Hedman, Fox, and Shesterkin. Ponchi's lineup is Kyle Connor, Austin Matthews, Braden Point, Adam Fox, Cale Makar, and Robin Leonard. Ooh, Robin Leonard, man. My lineup is, so Lazy's lineup is Ovechkin, Matthews, Kane, Pelech, Makar, and Saros. And then Birdie's got his Ovechkin, Matthews, DeBrincat, tiny blue line, and Hughes and Makar, and Demko. Had to shoot a
Tiny
shot.
blue. Oh my!
Just a few
God.
shots, and then let me just put mine back on the stream again. Nick's getting a lot of votes. I mean, all right.
Just
see how it
don't
is.
forget, guys. My team
You
is
guys
never
are hating
leaving the
on
offensive
Fox.
zone. First of all, okay, we are always going to be in there no matter what. So
Yo.
we don't need to worry about anything else.
Hockey's
What's
preaching in the
going on?
choir here, telling us that Nick's voted 6 times on himself. So thank you, Hockey, for letting me know.
my-
So minus 5 for Nick. All right, I think the vote. I think the voting.
I'm about to vote for Ponch. Ponch is getting disrespected right now. He had a good lineup.
No, I had to vote for myself, guys. I needed all the help I can get.
Need to stop the count.
Stop the count, Punch. Are you
How
sure?
is there's not this many people.
How is it still going? Who's voting?
Points?
Yo, Berto just voted like
Oh, you can
7.
use the dog ball? All right, bet. All right, so that's how it's going to be.
Wait, how do you do that? I don't know how to do that. I can't do that.
You could use your channel points on it.
It doesn't let me though. I don't know how to do that.
Oh my god, I can vote 27 for Berta. Bro.
All right, well, that's not
Hey,
very
Ponch
fair.
is on the board. We got Ponch one.
Berta Man contributed
35. There you go,
1,700 channel
Berta.
points to win. All right. So,
So
I
the
made it.
balance,
Wait, I
the
made it
balance
100
is
channel
suck,
points
bro.
to vote a second time. I regret doing that. So let me just do 35 minus 17 for himself. So you got 18. You still won. You still won. Dude, I wish I could check who contributed all the channel points.
I think,
All right. Well,
I think I voted 7 times for Nick.
Hey, I
Nice.
appreciate that, Ponch.
there's
Nice,
only
man.
yeah, dude. There's according to Streamlabs, there's 9 people in chat. So yet there was like 100 votes.
Pretty.
Everybody showed up for election day, though, apparently.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
nobody shows up for election day, but this chat poll, everyone shows up 6,000 times. Everyone's disrespecting Ponch. I'm sorry, Ponch. I think Leonard drowned you. But congratulations, this is your winning lineup: Ovechkin, Matthews, DeBrincat, Hughes, Makar, Demko. My only flaw with your lineup, my friend, is Hughes and DeBrincat. I think you switched DeBrincat for Kane, and Makar for Pelech, and Demko for who did I have? Saros. I think you.
How are you gonna have?
I understand what you're saying, but
How
there's a
are
reason
you
why
gonna have
I
three
won
goal
this
scorers
poll.
on
Okay.
one line?
Yeah,
One line, 3 goal scorers. None of
Damn,
those
I should have
guys
voted
are
for myself.
bad.
I have infinite.
Who's
channel
passing the puck
points.
on that line?
Ovechkin.
Oh,
He has
yeah, you
26
think
assists.
so? Yeah. Ovechkin
Yeah.
passed the puck. I'm sure half of his assists are literally just shots off guys' pads, man.
And that's how he's gonna get assist this in this
All
lineup
right,
as
all
well.
right.
I think the biggest flaw with that poll was that I couldn't use my channel points, which I have infinite of. So I should have won that hands down, in my opinion.
Don't hate the
but-
player. Don't hate the player. hate the
yeah, I
game.
hate the game. Yo, Twitch, what do you got going on, man? Come on. All right. Well, I think that's a good way to end it. That was a fun little way to end the stream. I think. Did we have any topics that we missed? I don't think so. I think we nailed it.
Nick,
So-
you're getting compliments on your glasses, man.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey.
Yes, I found
And
the
the hat,
hat. Yeah. And I know I wore this last time too. I know. I actually think I wore the same outfit. Maybe this is my Tuesday outfit. Or is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Maybe this is my Wednesday outfit. Who knows?
Honestly,
Anyway.
what day is it?
Go on
No,
with the
I'm
outro. Go on
Yeah.
with the outro.
So, all right. Cheese Whiz is asking us to trade PD. I don't think we're going to trade PD. Hey, Possum, what's going on? So, all right. Let's end the stream here, or end the podcast here. Thank you, everyone, for listening wherever you are listening from. We appreciate your support. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, we do appreciate your support. To find us on those accounts, if you want to listen while going for a jog, or listen while you're making dinner or doing whatever, and you just want to have your AirPods in, or your earphones in, or earbuds, whatever you listen on your phone, on Spotify, look us up. It's called the SNBP podcast. I repeat, the SNBP podcast. If you look that up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you will find us, no doubt. You'll see my channel emote on there, or not emote, but like icon thing that I have. It's like a big bulldog. Like, you'll see that. So that's a good way to know that it's our podcast. Obviously, I'm gonna give a little shout out to Bertaman's channel. Check out Bertaman on
Oh, yeah.
Twitch. Shout out to Nick, NXGnick on YouTube and Twitch. He streams almost every day in the mornings. Bertaman, I think you stream at night for me, but I don't know what time it is for you. Nick also does post games for Rangers games, so if you want to check those out.
That, so don't advertise that anymore.
Oh, okay, he doesn't do that anymore. Never mind, take that back.
Not anymore.
Let's rewind and pretend I never said that. Paunchy has streaming on Twitch. Help him reach affiliate, guys. He is so close. We'd appreciate your support. Yo, Nightbot is freaking out against Paunchy. Jesus. And then obviously I'm on Some Lazy Guy 09. So if you want to check me out on YouTube and Twitch, Some Lazy Guy 09. I've been doing a flyer series that I just started. I'm super excited about it. I made a whole cinematic for it. I got all of 10 views. Great time on YouTube, but the love is all on Twitch right now. So I really appreciate everyone stopping by on Twitch, helping me, my assistant GMs to, just kind of discuss trades. We've made a ton of moves. Speaking of John Klingberg, I don't want to spoil too much, but I will spoil this. John Klingberg is now a member of the Philadelphia Flyers, who may or may not be first in their division after 1 year under my reign. So check me out on YouTube to tune in for that series. Check out all of our channels to tune in for all their series and what they got going on. And like I said, on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, whatever you listen on, check us out. We're happy to have you. Happy to have your support. We always listen to your comments. Always listen to your requests for questions. And we're always happy to have you, all right? So we'll catch you guys in the next one. Huge shout out to, obviously, Bertaman, Nick, Paunchy, but also the Show 412, Fala Ammo, Hockey 582004, Kevin. So it's K. Loxon. Yeah, K. Loxon. I got it. Got it.
K. Loxon.
HD Hollywall, Fala Ammo, Possum Fluff. If I misspell anything, I apologize, okay? I'm trying my best. Papa Clutch 21. I can see Bertaman laugh in the background. Cheese Whiz 22. It was it?
H. Dollywall.
H. Dollywall?
Yes.
HT. Oh my god, my bad.
It's all good.
That actually wasn't that bad. Kev Player for
okay.
stopping by as well. Nightbot banning everybody in chat for reasons beyond my understanding. Dad9 Sports. I think that's almost everybody that stopped by. And we also had our boy Cashmere Kilt. And I think Bayou Bengal. Yeah, Bayou Bengal is here as well. And Cool Boy. So everyone, thank you so much for stopping by whenever you can. That was a long shout out, a long outro. I apologize to everyone who's still here. You're a trooper. And we'll see you guys in the next one. All right. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.